Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows from around world football this weekend. Christopher Hamill and his thermostat to my right. Hamill, the agenda continues. What's the talking point?
It's Manchester United, all right? We can't get away from them. You guys click it, so, you know, you're partly to blame.
It's your fault.
Too. After drawing 1-1 with Wolves, goals from Fred and Martinho playing out a stale draw at Old Trafford. The Red Devils have now dropped 6 points from 7 Premier League games at Old Trafford against newly promoted opposition under Jose Mourinho.
Yes!
Now this is more than in 10 seasons beforehand under 3 different managers. So you normally dispatch to the lesser clubs. You're struggling against a sitting defence. However, not necessarily the case against Wolves or Leicester at the start of the season, who really brought it to you at home. Anyhow, who does Jose blame for this? Because he likes to point the finger, doesn't he?
And a lot of people.
The blame game. He's blamed his forward line. The main attacking threat in this game came from Shaw, Pogba and Fellaini. All had more shots than the front three of Sanchez, Lukaku and Lingard, who only managed the 4 between them. Now,
Yes, Alexis.
Sanchez hasn't scored in over 831 minutes.
Come on! £375,000 a week plus 27 grand bonuses.
Cheeky Sports arrived. He
Come
was
on!
hooked in this game on 65 minutes. Now, Martial came on after scoring midweek when United's lineup was Pogba, Rashford, Martial and Lukaku for just the 3rd time and the first time since November 2017. Now, we sent Olivia Dodd, aka Let Down Liv, onto the streets of London to gauge whether people think that Martial should be starting over Sanchez and, you know, what that should ultimately do.
We're back on the streets of central London to find out what you guys are making of Alexis Sanchez and his 0-goal tally this season. Should he be dropped, or is Mourinho right to keep the faith?
I was a big fan of Alexis at Barca. He's struggling here at United. I think his glory days were with Arsenal.
What do you think Mourinho should do with him?
It's hard to say, but he's got to give him a little go.
You know, I remember him being at Arsenal, like, he was just smashing it, like, all the time. Everyone's talking about him in the group chats and everything like that. But now he's at Man U. He's not as big as he was. I think he might have fell off just a bit.
If I were Mourinho, I'd let him go.
You'd let him go completely, not even just to the bench?
It's a tough one because he is a brilliant player, but I think they should give him a little more time.
If you're not performing, especially if you've got such a high price tag, if you're not performing, like, you need to take a couple plays out.
Doesn't keep going and start producing the goods, get rid.
Do you think he's just not settled in Manchester yet?
No, I think he's such a talented player. I think he just needs some time.
A few more games as first choice. If he doesn't deliver, then get rid.
Who would I play over Alexis?
How about Anthony Martial? Does he deserve a chance?
I mean, honestly, Martial hasn't performed for me at United. I think, as far as Martial is concerned, I don't think this system has been too kind for him.
I think Rashford should be more prominent than Sanchez, definitely.
Personally, I'd let go of Martial before Sanchez. I was being a little bit. I was a little bit.
Get rid of the whole team.
I was a little bit.
Is there anyone you would play?
I don't know. I think it's Mourinho's curse. I just don't think he's a good manager anymore. I think he's losing the goodwill of players.
I think that's unfortunate that he's not very good right now. But like I said, I'm American, so I don't watch that type of football. I like the Redskins in America. Y'all should watch that type of football. That's the fun stuff.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Alexis Sanchez not the only problem though. We're not creating anywhere near enough chances. Now on the weekend, obviously the headlines were all about Paul Pogba, weren't they? Obviously he played on the right-hand side of a midfield three that included Fred and Fellaini, with Nemanja Matic banned for that ridiculous sending off against Watford. Now the Frenchman had more touches of the ball than anyone else on the pitch, 123, and more in the final third as well. That was 42. He also created 3 chances, made the assist for the goal and completed the second most dribbles and had the second most shots of anyone in a red shirt. Yeah, he was still being fairly lambasted on my Twitter. I think he's now been directly involved in 6 in 7 starts for Manchester United this season, which is pretty good going for a central midfielder, although obviously penalties are involved in that as well. And then after the game, the tensions between him and Mourinho continued to mount, didn't they? every single week. The two hate each other. It's clear and obvious. This time it was Pogba getting a few sly digs in at Mourinho. Obviously, he said, "I'm not the manager. I cannot say how we should play." He then went on to say, "But when we are at home, we should attack, attack, attack," which is clearly not what Jose does.
I can't say how we should play, but I'm going to say it anyway.
But I am going to say it. I can't say how we should play. I think he was saying, "Oh, I'm a player. I can't make the decisions, but we should really be attack, attack, attack." Just throw Jose under the bus again.
Now, you don't have to say this. I can say this as a neutral. But there's an element of truth behind this. I think most United fans would sympathise with Pogba's stance in that he feels like they should go for the jugular more, but wrong time to do it, wrong platform. What is Paul Pogba doing? Just as you were putting a little run together, the friction's back.
Banging results against Young Boys and Watford. Christ.
Yeah, 2-2.
Yeah, I know. And I'll be getting hammered in the comments section right now saying, "He's not a real United fan, not a real United fan."
Well, they're right.
God, shut up. Let's just watch what Jose had to say post-match.
You know, it's not my biggest names, it's my team. I expect my team to make a better game than we did. You know, if we play against Wolves like we play against Tottenham, I think we win. You know, I am looks a contradiction, but I am more disappointed today than I was against Tottenham. Because against Tottenham, obviously, we lost the game, but I liked very, very much my team performance. And today, of course, we have a better result. 1 point is better than 0, but I didn't like my team.
Shout out to Wolves, though, because they've come away from Old Trafford with points for the first time since 1980, Joe, which I'm sure you're delighted about. And despite only having 35% possession, they actually put 8 of their 11 shots on target. You conceded 8 shots on target at home. So the defensive deficiencies that were there last season still exist. Note the slow clap. Wolves, though, they are consistent, if nothing else, and name the same starting 11 in every Premier League game. And João Moutinho has been the fulcrum of the side each time, pulling the strings from the base of midfield.
Was he 6 mil?
In that region, 6 to 8. Yeah, he's been great, really benefiting from his experience, aren't they? But Raul Jimenez actually won man of the match, more so for his useful hold-up play. He actually made more passes in the opposition half than any other Wolves player, with 30, as well as teeing up the goal.
Great finish by Moutinho, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't continue to be the most prolific, but very much in the Olivier Giroud fashion, making himself a bit of a nuisance in the process. The point has seen Wolves ultimately lift to 10th, just 1 point behind the Red Devils in 7th. Europa League spots, baby.
Battling with Wolves.
It's beckoning. Are Wolves going to be the biggest overachievers this season? Let us know. Comments. Joe's hair, orange. My shirt, also orangish.
Nailed it.
Wolves. First winner comes from Brody Hales, and he's put Arsenal up there. Why is that?
Well, that's because they won 2-0 against a pretty average Everton side at the Emirates. Now, this is actually the highest scoring fixture in Premier League history. Over 153 goals have been scored in it. But Arsenal haven't lost at home to the Toffees since 1996.
So they just continuously smash Everton at home.
22 years ago. It's absolutely ridiculous. But Everton in this one did have 6 shots on target. I think actually, according to XG, they had the slightly better chances. I think it was 1.39 to 1.01 in favour of Everton. Hence why Petr Cech picked up the man of the match award. I think he took 6 saves on the day.
He was great. He was Arsenal's best player by far.
Yeah, in the process, he made his 1,000th save in the Premier League, I believe. He's
yes,
been around
Big
for
Pete.
Absolutely ever,
Top
hasn't
man.
he? But thankfully, as poor as Arsenal are at the back, they are good going forward, aren't they? Their front line, Lacazette and Aubameyang interchanging, is particularly dangerous. In fact, since Arsenal signed Aubameyang, Lacazette's got 10 goals, Aubameyang's got 14. I think there's only one player in the Premier League that's scored more league goals since Aubameyang arrived, and it's Harry Kane, maybe? It's either Harry Kane, Aguero or Mo Salah. It's one of those, I can't remember. He's got 16.
Anyway, moving on from our terrible research and on to Lacazette, because his first goal was an absolute dream. And 10 of his 16 Arsenal goals in the league have come at home. He loves it at the Emirates, as does Aubameyang. He now has 10 in 11 at the Emirates and 114 and 140 club appearances
vile.
since 2015. Bit of a late bloomer, wasn't he?
Who does he think he is?
But his form has been absolutely disgusting. And talking of disgusting, that decision, what on earth is going on there? You could put an ice cream van through Aubameyang and the last Everton defender.
It's almost as if we should have bought VAR in. Oh, yeah, we should have.
VAR anyhow does help by how terrible Everton are at the back.
Useless.
They
are
have the
awful.
4th highest expected goals conceded in the league. So it's not bad luck.
They're crap.
They just can't find a centre-half partnership that works. Michael Keane in this game is throwing his hands up, like Tom Daly or someone else who throws their hands up.
I don't know why
Kurt
he throws his hand
Zouma
up.
had Chelsea Rory on the 12th man last week. Reckons they should build the back four around Kurt Zouma. No evidence would suggest
Zero chance of that. Building it on sand.
would suggest that statement has any foundation. But, sorry about that, Rory. Just called you out there. Top lad. And they've spent big, haven't they, on the defence as well. £52 million on Digne, Zouma and Mina in the summer.
That's a joke.
Yerry Mina, where is he?
No
the
one
Phantom of Goodison.
Literally. He's going to float down in
Does he
half a
even
mast.
exist? Is he real? Anyway, as a team, they've won just 1 in 6 now under Marco Silva. Not surprising given that Marco Silva has won just 1 more game than Steve Keane in the same period in the Premier League. For those of you that forgot about Steve Keane's existence, then lucky you. He took over Blackburn from Big Sam. And ultimately, what got pissed?
Honestly.
Started slagging off other managers and got fired.
Shocking.
And Marco Silva's record is worse than that terrible, terrible bloke who I think ended up in the Philippines. I think he got sacked from his job in the Philippines. Anyway, he's probably opened a bar now somewhere. Oh, I don't know. Steve Keane. Moving on.
Our first losers, Chelsea. This one was sent in by Anch Lutra 16, but why?
Good staccato from you there. Yeah, misfiring Chelsea couldn't find their way past a plucky West Ham, drawing 0-0 at the London Stadium, meaning that their perfect start to the season is over and Liverpool have leapfrogged them at the summit of the Premier League. Now, this was despite the Blues taking 17 shots, registering 6 on target, which has been par for the course for them at the start of this season. So it wasn't inferior attacking output in this game. It was very much quality of chances and taking them when it mattered most. They also limited West Ham to 1 effort on goal, although Yarmolenko should have scored that header. It's come back off his brill cream.
That's a joke, that miss.
And it's gone well wide of the
Shocking,
target.
that.
Anyway,
Shocking.
Kepa was stranded. Now, at the other end of the pitch for Chelsea, Giroud and Morata only mustered 1 shot between them. Morata's was a great opportunity. It hit Fabianski in the bonds. It's a great save.
He's got to score, man.
But not much productivity in and around Eden Hazard. In fact, Morata and Giroud averaging less less shots on goal at the start of this season than Marcos Alonso, who's averaging 2 per 90. Now, I do think Pedro's absence in this game was a big problem for Chelsea. He lets, as well as Jorginho, obviously Jorginho is the biggest deciding factor in playing Sarri ball. He does those hard yards, he pulls defenders around, moves pretty judiciously, across the front 3, and they really missed him in this game. And this is where Europa League football
hurts you.
Becoming a little bit telling, isn't it, how much it can hurt you, because he picked up an injury against PAOK. Anyway, despite... Is it PAOK?
Who cares?
Or PAOK? Yeah, you're right.
Even their fans don't care.
Who gives a shit? Now, despite the forward line's ineffectiveness, Willian still impressed. 3 tackles, 3 dribbles, 3 shots, and 6 key passes.
He had such a good chance.
He created 6 opportunities in this game, 1 more than the entire West Ham team.
He had such a good chance. It was a dinked ball over the top, I think, by Jorginho or somebody else, and it was kind of on a tight angle with a half volley, and it went out for a throw-in, I think.
Yes.
Such a good chance.
He should have squared that across to Morata as the back post, but he probably looked up saw Morata and thought, I'm going to try my luck here from absolute Houdini angles. Anyway, the Brazilian is now 2nd in the league in terms of chances created, just behind David Silva, who's averaging 4 per game. So he's really coming into his own, Willian, under Sarri. But if we went by the history books, Chelsea, in a good position to win a London derby.
Yeah, I mean, they have won the most London derbies of any London-based side, 121, and West Ham have lost the most as well, 95. But the big problem here, for me, West Ham, was the loss of Arnautovic. Arnautovic has been involved in 80% of West Ham's goals this season. That's 3 goals and 1 assist. And he was replaced by Michail Antonio. Now, people who watch this channel will know my thoughts on Michail Antonio. Worst player in the Premier League. Man doesn't have feet, runs on 2 fibulas. It's unbelievable. It looks like he's wearing AstroTurfs all the time. I've never seen a footballer trip as much as Michail Antonio.
Danny Welbeck?
No. Honestly, Michail Antonio runs like he's at The Walking Dead. He's constantly scrabbling. Like, it's ridiculous.
He's got one leg that's 6 inches shorter than the other.
It's crazy. He's absolutely horrible. I actually think he had the least touches of any player on the pitch, Michail Antonio, and he's meant to be in there for his busyness, isn't he? What is he on the pitch to do? Because he had one good season, he scored about 29 headers. Since then, it's all gone wrong. He's a striker and a right back. There's no players like that anymore. It's not the 1930s. Get off, Michail. He should be playing at Derby County, Michail Antonio.
You always go to Derby, don't you?
He should be, and he'd be lucky to get in that Derby side, honestly.
Up the Rams.
Anyway, let's go on to Felipe Anderson, at least a decent player, because he continues to impress us. 3 dribbles, 3 tackles, 1 chance created. Covered really well for Masuaku as well. Now, expected goals had this one down as 2-1 to Chelsea. Probably a fair result if you look at it, but having said that, that one big chance for Yarmolenko has to hit the net. Lucas Fabianski at the other end, obviously making that great save off Morata from his boat. So a draw, probably fair for me, I think, in this one.
I felt like Eden Hazard wasn't as ruthless as he could have been in this game.
I agree.
Tried to put his strike partners in a couple of times, and if he's going to get 40 goals, like Sarri said he would last week, then he needs to start destroying teams like West Ham.
Yeah, like, when he went through and he tried the back heel to Eden Hazard, just hit the target, Eden. Come on.
Bloody hell, Eden.
Anyway, good result. Not.
Our last suggestion comes from Little for Life, and would you, Adam and Eve, it, Burnley are finally in our winners section, and I'm very much with you on Little for Life. Cheese, sensational value in Lidl.
I think he means Chuck Liddell, not Lidl, the German supermarket brand. But I also quite like Lidl.
Get it changed.
Anyway, let's talk about Burnley, because prior to this game, they had their worst start to the season since 1927. Brilliant stuff from Sean Dyche, conceding 10 in their first 5 games. It took them 13 games last season to concede the same amount of goals. However, in this one, they tore Bournemouth apart, kind of. 4-0, moving up to 16th in the process, and their first win of the season. There are only 125 seconds between Burnley's first and second goals. Vidra registering his first of the season, and Aaron Lennon grabbing his first Premier League goal since 2016.
Good to see him back amongst the goals. Obviously had that little period off, didn't he?
He did, indeed. Burnley's wide men, though, causing the real damage in this game. Goodmanson, 12 assists for Burnley, 7 more than anyone at the club. I can't believe Burnley are second winners here. Burnley.
I actually rate Goodmanson. I think he's one of the few players at Burnley who, could actually passes as a footballer rather than a bouncer. I think he's pretty cultured, but moving on. There wasn't much between the two sides, was there? Ultimately, Bournemouth actually created more chances than Burnley, 19-12, but ultimately these were low-quality chances. And this was the best bit of research I could dig out about this game. It took me about an hour to find something worth a yarn worth spinning, but 12 of Bournemouth shots were outside the box.
Incredible.
So who'd have thought it? Burnley deploying a deep block. Sticking every man, every big white man they've got inside their own 12-yard box. Isn't it? Burnley, by comparison, had 4 shots in Bournemouth's 6-yard box. More quality research there.
How?
To the away side's 0. Although Ake was unfortunate not to open the goal scoring first when Ben Mee got it is Ben Mee, isn't it? Yeah. Got a great tackle in. George doesn't know behind the camera, and it hit the crossbar. Young, £11.5 million Welsh winger David Brooks.
Who is he? Who is David Brooks? Let's get it trending. Who is David Brooks? It could be anyone. If you know who David Brooks is, please tweet us a photo of him, because at the moment, Sky Sports still have his head as a floating shadow.
On his Who Scored profile, I saw that he had lovely, Dorman-esque highlights. So
it's just incredible. Who is David Brooks?
Anyway, moving on. He continues to be productive for Bournemouth down the right as he adjusts to life in the Premier League. I've put here, but I have nothing to substantiate that with really, other than the numbers of this 90. 4 shots, 1 key pass, 1 aerial duel, and 1 tackle. So he was busy, and that's about it.
That's what you can expect from David Brooks.
Ryan Fraser, yeah, absolute workhorse on Brookers. Ryan Fraser, who has been very good at the start of the season. Actually, Bournemouth's front 3 have been very decent at the start of the season. Callum Wilson joining Josh King and Ryan Fraser in on that act. He carved out 4 chances down the left-hand side. Okay, it probably came, I don't know, closer to scoring. I'm trying to remember his efforts now. We're just going to move on. But Burnley's midfield were very industrious and they did muddy the game, ultimately putting in twice as many tackles as Bournemouth. So they put the bait out.
Yeah.
Reeled Bournemouth in and came away with the 3 points. Burnley now have Cardiff and Huddersfield in their next 2 games, so 6 points there probably. Cardiff are an absolute disgrace. And Bournemouth have Palace and Watford. So 2 very evenly contested matches there, I reckon.
Can't wait for those.
Yeah, if you can't wait for them either, then let us know by sending me and Joe a tweet saying David Brooks for life.
Please, find a photo of him. Find any photo, it'll work.
David.
Our final loser was more obvious than a Russian election. It's Cardiff. This one was sent in by Stephen Fabricius on Twitter.
That's called satire, for those of you that, didn't appreciate that. Anyhow, yeah, they got battered 5-0 at home by Manchester City after goals from Aguero, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan and a Mahrez double. Now, it's the first time they've lost by a 5-goal margin since a 7-2 defeat to who? Cambridge, Giants of the game in April 1994. And it was fully deserved in this game. They were absolutely toilet duck. 21% possession, 2 shots to 21.
But 2 shots on target, mate. If there's one thing you say about Cardiff, it's that they're accurate.
2 shots on target to Manchester City's 10. Now, they were 3-0 down at half-time, so it's done and dusted after 45. Aguero's opener, Bernardo Silva's beautiful little backwards flick.
Did he mean it? Vote in the poll up there.
He did.
I think he did.
That's why he's shaved his head, more aerodynamic for those backward headers. Anyway, and Gundogan's magnificent curling effort. Mahrez then added a bit of gloss to the result, didn't he, with a quick-fire double after the break. His first goals for City and his first brace since December 2015 versus Everton. This means that after conceding only 2 goals in their opening 3 games, Cardiff have conceded 3 apiece in their subsequent 3 fixtures, albeit against Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester City. Now, we shouldn't really be surprised because Manchester City are just making a habit of dishing out absolute ass whoopings, aren't they? Since Pep joined, they've scored 5+ goals in 10 occasions. That's 8% of his total fixtures. That's crazy stuff.
Absolutely ridiculous. Yes, they firmly put those Champions League woes to bed. Of course, they lost to Lyon midweek at home. Aguero as well got his 205th goal in just 300 City games. That is utterly ridiculous. Raheem Sterling as well also brought back into the starting lineup. 90% pass accuracy, 3 dribbles, 1 tackle, 1 shot, 1 assist. Really good to see him back amongst the numbers. Otamendi as well, just his 2nd Premier League start of the season. So important for the side last year. 95% pass accuracy, 2 aerial duels, 5 tackles and interceptions, although he didn't really have to do much at the back. But undoubtedly, man of the match, Ilkay Gundogan, filling really well in for Kevin De Bruyne. 93% pass accuracy, 3 tackles, 3 shots, 1 assist, and that beautiful curling goal. If you haven't seen it already, go and check it out. You'll probably be able to find it on Twitter somewhere. That's his 8th Premier League goal in just 46 appearances. Top work by Ilkay Gundogan, considering Kieran Carlin hates him.
Yeah, they were playing some great one-touch stuff around the box, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I think now only KDB and Sane have more assists than Raheem Sterling since the start of last season.
He's just so good, Raheem Sterling, isn't he? He's so good. A lot of people on Twitter as well, I put out a poll the other day saying who would you rather have in your team, Zaha or Sterling? And Zaha won by a comfortable distance.
Madness.
What is happening
Absolute
with the
madness.
gammons out there? Doesn't get much easier for Cardiff, does it? Obviously, they've got Burnley next week, so that's going to be a tough, dogged game. Then they've got Spurs, Fulham and Liverpool in October. Horrible fixture list at the start of the season for Cardiff. Neil Warnock.
I'd be like, WWE, wouldn't it? Royal Rumble, Cardiff, Burnley next week.
I actually don't know if Neil Warnock is sackable, though. I feel like he's probably going to maintain a job no matter what happens this season because they're definitely going to go down.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not they finish on a worse points tally than Derby.
I mean, I think they were building a squad for the next championship season this summer.
Yeah.
They didn't exactly go balls to the walls to survive, did they?
Meanwhile, obviously Manchester City have the biggest game of their season so far. They've got Oxford United in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday, so that'll be a big one. And they've got Brighton at the Etihad. Another good game for Man City. They've got Chelsea dropped points as well, so I think they're up to second in the league behind Liverpool already, City.
Bloody good week.
Bloody good week for Pep.
The citizens.
Except for the Leon result.
Yeah.
So that's it for winners and losers, but what's happening on EFD, Hamdog?
Well, we've got ERU coming out in an hour's time if all goes to plan. Little asterisk there, you know, just in case the uploads don't work correctly. Anyway, we're talking about PSV for the first time this season over in the Eredivisie because they crushed Ajax 3-0, if memory serves me correctly, and Dortmund are in our losers section. But come and join us to see who makes up the rest of the lineup. Also, Ronaldo isn't going to be awarded the best award, apparently. And we're going to use that as a title. So, see ya.